Oh, snap.
Snap, snap, snap.
Why are you on mute, dude?
You're not on me.
Tommy's like, oh, snap, 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 snap. Why are you whispering?
Look, we mustn't make noise for the people. We mustn't make noise for the people.
Oh, snap.
It is good to be back. Topic that makes your fingers
Snap. We're back again with another topic.
That
Makes your fingers
snap. Why did we repeat that? But guys, collab. But guys, it's good to be back. As you know, we are road to 1K. Please make sure you press that subscribe button and help us get to 1K. And guess what? The topic for today is
What happens when your partner evolves
and actually does and leaves you behind.
and leaves you behind? Not like the person has broken up with you.
Yeah,
no,
like-
you are still in that relationship.
In the-
It's just that you are seeing the person is hitting other levels.
and evolving by the day, and when I'll call him that you're not growing. So what do you do?
Yeah, I think it's also vice versa, What happens when you are the one who's evolving in the relationship and your partner is not evolving in the relationship? At the same time, what happens when you are the person who's being left behind but you're still in the relationship? I think we should explain what is evolving means.
Yes. Evolving is basically going to greater heights than what you are, like basically achieving your goals, being a better person. It doesn't have to be evolving financially. It could be like maybe your career wise is evolving, spiritually you could be evolving. You're not the same person as you used to be like than yesterday or 2 weeks back or a month back. I read something where it says that sometimes we confuse men because we forever evolving. You won't be the same woman you were yesterday. So how do people catch up with that?
Yeah, and I think it's also important the fact that it's not only like in terms of the financial status, as Ndombi is putting it, but I think also in terms of the way of thinking, someone can grow in terms of their way of thinking. You get my point? Like they have not changed the car, they haven't changed where they stay.
It's just the
They
mentality.
don't have more money than they had. It's just the way they think now is on a different level. You get my point? Because I think at the end of the day, I think one thing that we take for granted in relationships, I think you understand sometimes when you change friends, you feel like, nah, we're no longer in the same stage. We're no longer the same. And it's like the guys that I used to be friends with 5 years ago. Because asikhulile ngoku,
But what
even
happens?
even in a relationship, it does happen, because people do grow. You get my point?
And they change.
The person that you were 2 years ago, you're not that
not
kind of a
that
person
same
today.
person.
You get my point? And I think so many times we always get this thing from friends, like generally in life. When you guys were just hustling together, you were still in varsity, didn't have money, you guys were all friends, and then now you start working, people are like, hey, unemali ngokusilela. Yeah, it's not necessarily about that, but it's
just the
more
person
someone has changed now,
evolved and changed.
So what happens in a relationship when that happens?
I think for me, number one, I guess we can rotate.
Yeah.
Number one for me is communicate.
Mm.
Yeah. For example, if you've seen your person has changed, I know that sometimes men usually take it in a negative way when someone has changed. You're not the same person as you used to be, and
Yeah.
they take that in a negative way. So number one, communicate it and don't take it in a negative way. It's actually a positive thing because
So you're speaking for the person who's evolving,
yes,
telling the person who has not evolved.
yeah,
Okay.
yes. I hope that makes sense. And now I'm also speaking to the person. Let's say the girlfriend or partner has evolved, and one of they stuck still in one place.
Yeah.
Communicate to the person and don't take it negatively when the other person grows. Because I feel like if you're going to take it negatively, then it's like more like no more.
Yeah.
You are jealous. You don't want your person to grow to become a better person. So that would be my number one, communication. And I feel like in a lot of relationships, sometimes communication lacks. That's my number one point.
I think for me, on that part of communication, I think one, is because sometimes you always see yourself as the one evolving. I think you shouldn't really feel like make the other. Yeah, you shouldn't feel guilty. I mean, it's life. You're developing, but I don't think you should also make the other partner feel bad, because maybe their time will come.
Yeah,
and
not their season.
It's not their season yet. You get my, because I think at times when we are evolving, we forcefully want everyone to change.
To evolve.
You get my point?
Guys, why?
Forcefully.
Why? Why?
It's like someone who's just, let's say, someone has stopped drinking. You get my point? And they come.
They want everyone to stop drinking.
And you're like, You know, we're all gonna get there, dude. You know, stay calm. You know, so I think at times we always have to, as people are evolving, you know, always get to understand the other person, that their time will come. But I also like the part of saying, communicating to someone, saying, listen, man, I'm not saying what, but I no longer like that place.
Yeah.
I no longer like that crowd. I no longer like doing things like this. You get my point? I'm not saying those are bad, but they bore me. You know, I've moved from that part. You know, I mean, at some point, at some stage, you know, even to myself and Tombi, because of having friends, what. You know, as much as you, because at times, you know, as partners, you have friends that you share together. You get my point? And friends that you don't share together. But there comes a time when we share friends, I'm like, listen, man, I like that group, but I need a break from it. I'm not saying you should.
I need a breather.
Yeah, I'm not saying you should move away from it, but I just want to move away from it. Me. But I think the bad thing that happens when we evolve, we want everyone to do exact. So when I'm saying that, nah, man, I'm no longer feeling that grow. I'm just gonna take space, guys. Just 2 months. Just need something. Just space. So now you should also do the same.
You mustn't copy.
You know, when it becomes a problem, you get my point. So I think that part of communication is very important. And I think at times, you know, as people you are evolving, you can't explain why you're evolving. You can't explain why I no longer like that.
And
it's just that
won't understand. People won't understand.
So it's just good to say, listen, man, I've grown from that part. The second part?
The second
Yeah.
For you, I just have a question before I go to my second one. Have you ever been in a place where you felt like I was evolving and you were just stagnant and not moving?
Yeah. I think, okay, Ndombi has changed careers like 5 times, 6 times. And Ndombi, like, she has worked in so many places. And if she decides that she's leaving that place, like, dog, she's not, we're not having a meeting, it's happening, you know? So many times it has happened, you know? You know? But I got to understand, you know, because
Hi, baby.
you know, I'm just being honest, the fact that Ndombi has evolved so many times.
I can evolve so much in 1 year.
Yeah, in 1 year, she's worked, and so like since 2017 to now, I don't know what has happened. I'm like, what is going on with this guy?
And he's been in one job.
Yeah,
Like,
see, I'm like one career, and I'm like, nah, I'm still cool here. You know, I'm still cool. I still want to study more. You know, still want to, you know, just balance the work and the business. You know, I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm going there and there and there and there. You know, so yeah, it has happened a lot. But for me, I think the part of I also got to understand this part of. I think when you're with someone, you want that person who's going to support you. You get my point? Yeah, you know, if you are jumping, you want someone who's going to
jump with you.
Yeah, jump with you. You get my point? As much as they might not change their life drastically, but because at some point, some stage, you don't want to make someone feel guilty for growing, you know, for changing. Because at the same time, you know, I think one thing that is important is that when someone changes, things might not work out.
Yeah.
You can leave your job and go to the next job and it doesn't work out. Or you leave your job, go for your passion, and your passion doesn't come well financially, you know. I think it would be bad for the person to say, yeah, but like, now you are drowning the whole relationship because of now.
Family.
Okay, don't we just decide to kick him out? You know, now you decided to drown the whole family because you want to be an artistic person, watching. You know, so I've seen that so many times, and I think, you know, someone who's actually older than me said, no, just, you know, you're not only there for the kisses, for the pictures, for the sex, you know, you're also there for support. You get my point? So when they're moving to the stage, you need to be there and support them. You know, obviously you can always show them cautious and say, what about that, but don't close the door for them. So yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, that's so cute. That means support is very important, guys. Support is very important. I think the saddest thing is that when your partner doesn't want you to evolve or is stagnant in one place, sometimes it feels like you're suffocating in that relationship, and like you see other people going, hey, move, and your person just doesn't want to evolve, and they're stuck in one place.
Yeah, because, you know, like, think about this thing in a relationship, you know, when you guys first meet, you know, the first 2 months you guys are not discussing money, you're just discussing kisses and times for it. But after 3 months you discuss money. After 4 months you discuss children. I still remember when we started in our relationship, I knew every day that Ndombi was cooking, you know, so it was like the perks of the relationship. She was just cooking all the time. You get my point? But after 2 years, it happens twice a week. You know, and I
Or
can't.
even us, so gender
Yeah, like yeah, I was again on the hump now. I'm like, oh, you know, and I can't really complain because now she's in more demanding. She works for herself. She, you know, so it's more demanding. You know, she's not at home more than that, or she's at home but she's working. You get my point. So I still have to understand that. Okay, now she's calling and work. You know, then she was not that busy. She was working from 8 to 2, so she could cook. But now, you know, get my point. She can even work until 10 o'clock in the evening. So things have changed. You get my point. I must also try to adapt into that style.
Yeah.
I must also go to the kitchen and cook eggs. And eat.
So number 3, I guess you need to be able to adapt.
What was number 2?
Number 2 is support.
Oh, support. Oh,
Support.
yeah.
And number 3 is be willing to adapt when the person is evolving and stuff.
Yeah, because I think also here we're speaking about positive evolving.
Yeah,
you
positive
know? Yeah, because
evolving.
can change for the bad.
Yo.
You get my point.
Like,
That's a different issue.
That's
you know?
a different
I think
issue.
here we're just speaking about positive evolving. You get my point. Someone can do things like, I didn't know that we think like this.
Yeah.
They honestly now, boy, they didn't know they think like this.
Yeah.
So some new light has came upon. You get my point. Like I'll know, like for example, with me and Tommy, she knows when we met, I was always that guy. I want to go to church. You know, for me, I want to be in a building. I want to hear people sing, all of that. You get my point. But as time goes by, you know, there's certain trend. Oh yeah, I was like, even in terms of dress code, I want to wear a tie.
Even if it's
hot,
you
get my point. That was me. But out of the blue, I was like, this is a tradition of clothing. You get my point. Yes, going to church is still fine. I still do that, you know. But at some point, some stage, there are certain traditions about church that I've stopped. It's like, is that God or is that people? We need to decide. You know, if it's people, if it's God, okay. You know, so it just continues. It's that growth, but is.
A disclaimer, I bought so many suits.
Yes.
So many suits.
And then I woke up one day,
Okay.
watched a podcast, I read a Bible, and I read Steve Biko, and I was like, these suits are.
Clearly suit, and I
They're not me, and this evil man. So now
I have to sell the suits. But guys, I think what made me happy is that the fact that you're evolving and changing. And when a person is changing, it's good. If they're not changing, I would be worried if you're the same person as I met you in 2017.
Yeah.
So it's good that you're changed. And just because you are evolving doesn't mean I should evolve exactly the same way as you.
with the same things.
With the same things. Like we can't. It's rare to find that. For example, if let's say you doing cycling, for example, and you're evolving in cycling and it's becoming professional, I mustn't also automatically, because you are doing it, I must fall into my purpose. Like, make sure, guys, you fall into your purpose. Just learn your person. Don't you? Okay, Sipho likes reading books, so I need to be intentional. For example, when I go to CNA, I'll look for like Steve Biko, such books, leadership books, because I know that he likes evolving in those dimensions.
Yeah. And 2 years from now, I can change and evolve in a different direction.
You see?
You get me? But you can't say, hey, dude, I can't keep up. You know? Like child will start crawling.
Yeah.
And after that, they start taking 2 steps. After that, they're just running around the house. For example, it's something that happened recently. You know, I was on Instagram and I just saw a video of someone doing yoga. I'd never thought to myself that would be my morning routine. And I just watched that thing for 2 minutes. And the next thing, I've been doing yoga for the last 2 months. Every 5 o'clock in the morning, I just wake up, do yoga. You get my point? To her, it was like, huh?
And then
What, dog? You're doing yoga? Cool, sharp, you know? And she was like, what happened? Like, I don't know how it started, but I know what it does to me now. You get my point? It calms me down. It prepares me for the day. It's my morning routine before prayer. You get my point?
He has even affirmation days for the day, and it keeps him so positive. And the way he was so positive, I was like, yo, I want to have that momentum. And I kept on saying, I'm going to join you, but till today I haven't joined.
Yeah.
But it shows that I'm not supposed to be at that point.
She likes walking. She discovered that thing. I like walking in the morning. I like walking in the afternoon just to get my mind free. Oh, cool. Yeah, I also like walking, but not every day. Doesn't mean she has to stop. Doesn't mean I have to join.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's also that part of, as much as we're in a relationship, but we're different people.
And we don't have
you
to
get my
do
point.
the same
And I don't
things.
have to be. This isn't Dombi. I am non-Dombi.
Yeah.
You get my point. We will find a way to work together. But at the same time, there are things that I just have to do on my own. There are things she has to do on her own. I'll support you, make sure that I give all the support, be positive, ask you about those things, but doesn't mean I have to jump into those things. You
I
get my point?
certainly
I think the mistake is when we want our partners to be exactly like us.
Yeah,
You get my
that's
point?
the problem.
It's like your parent. They wanted to be a doctor, now they want you to be a doctor as well. Like, no, I'm my own person.
No. I was going to ask you, Mklambi, before we like end this topic and stuff, what happens if when a person evolves and it happens negatively, what can one person do? Like, do they break the relationship? Do they get a divorce? Or do they seek for help from like third parties? What do they do?
Yeah, I think, when it comes to, for me, if you go into, I always say this, people always, how do you know the person is the right person for you? And I swear, anyone who comes into your life and just becomes toxic and puts your life in danger, that is not the right person. So if you're married to a guy, or you're in a relationship with a guy who's just good, you get my point, treats you well, the next thing is just evolves to be abusive. You get my point? I mean, really, to stay there, you're putting your life into danger. You get my point? But at the same time, I think it's also important for us to always maybe ask for for a third party
to help.
Because ask for a third party because you know what, there are certain things in a relationship that can be normalized.
Yes.
In the betana, like we beat each other here. We've normalized something that is wrong. You get my point? We can also normalize something that we talk here, we peace here. You get my point? So I think it's always good when just find a third party. And if it doesn't work out, you moving out is the best for you, because if someone just changes for the best, for the worst, even if it's good for them, but it's bad for you, I mean, if I could just change it and say, no, I just like cheating, it's my thing. I just like having 4 girlfriends outside us. That's a negative evolving. And for you to stay there, like, no, you're putting my life in danger, and because there are diseases, and you're also being rude, you're also disrespecting. Yeah. So I'm saying that if it changes for the negative, ask for help. Also do leave if it doesn't work out. But it goes back to that communication, saying this new thing that we are doing, it's putting us here and here and here, and this will be the end results.
Won't grow as a relationship. I think so many people sit in relationships that they're sitting with toxic people, and I think that should come to an end, and we should break those generational curses. And my last words before we end this video, I would say that if you are an evolving person, I think it's best to sit with your partner, vice versa. Just ask Masipo, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? So you can be aware that this person will evolve. Like, what are the short-term and long-term goals? Because sometimes we don't know and we're just winging it, and then you get surprised, like this person, like for example, you have told me, no, I want to be in business one day. So when it happens, I won't be shocked, whatever business that you're in. So I think, like, let's go back to the basic. Let's sit down. What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals besides us? Individually.
Yes. And I think also, one thing that we should not do, especially as guys, we should not box our woman. When you box your partner, don't create a box and put your partner in that box. You get my point? For example, with Ntombi, I only expected to be a wife. After that, outside of that, I don't know why. You get my point? Now, when she started doing, it's like this thing when now Ntombi started doing things, I'm like, I've never seen a wife running in the morning. I've never seen a wife going on a live. Now I've boxed her, like you've limited your person.
Never seen a wife,
exactly. Don't limit your person. Let them be. You get my point? Support them. As long as what they are doing is positive for them, it's positive for you, then it's also good. But I think the mistake we do is that we create too many rules to keep someone. You get my point? For example, I know there are people that, because now if Ntombi was pink, I must wear pink now. You get my point? Because now she's created this type of a husband. Like, no, you get my point? So I think it's very important not to box people, so that when they grow, you not become, so what's my role now? Your role is to support. Your role is to communicate. If it makes you uncomfortable, be honest about it. But at the same time, do understand that you are not with a robot. A robot doesn't change unless someone else changes it. You're with a human being. A human being grows over and over.
That's deep. And also, you should question yourself if my evolving makes you uncomfortable. We need to sit on that. We need to understand, why is it making you uncomfortable? Because some other people are like, I get, just do your thing, but you understand they're making them uncomfortable.
Yeah,
so I feel
why?
like it's time that we speak about these uncomfortable like conversation. It doesn't have to be relationship wise.
Just
Sometimes
even friendships,
like
you know.
even friendships, sometimes a friend of mine could be evolving, but I won't support or anything. I feel so ask yourself, okay, why am I uncomfortable?
For example, just to add on that, you know, I've learned the painful thing, you know, that some friends of yours love you when you are broke, when you are at this level, lower level than them. The moment they see that you're becoming better than them financially or the way of thinking, then they no longer know how to be friends with you, because they always sort of helping you.
They always
You
like
know, that's
young
how,
Nangli
yeah,
as a
that's
baby
the
giving
role.
you
They,
purity.
now when you're growing, they don't know how to handle you. You get my point? So I
You
think
get your point.
so I think that's the point. Sometimes people only know how to treat you as a child.
Yeah.
Although we are both adults, you get my point. But it's like
Once
us
you
working.
grow.
I'm the one who's sustaining this relationship financially. Now, when you have more money than me, I don't know what my duty is, and I'm starting getting intimidated. What and what and what. Yeah, well,
Yeah. Guys, that's a lot. Just tell me what do you think down below. Make sure you do subscribe, share with friends, and tell us what do you think. Have you evolved? Has your partner evolved? And how do you help one another, even in friendship? So guys, all we have to do, oh snap.
snap.